And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're receiving this information. My name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman. I am the Executive Director of Líderes del Futuro Avanzando, a nonprofit organization in Sonoma County that supports the educational success of all students with a focus on the Latinx, immigrant, and refugee communities. I am also a professor in the Humanities Department at Santa Rosa Junior College, where I teach classes on popular culture, I teach classes on Latin America and the Caribbean, and I teach classes on gangs, and that's Humanities 6, and that is one of my specialties. But today we're here because I want to share a little bit about scholarships. A lot of individuals want to be able to attend college, but they don't know exactly how to go about it. In this training, what we're going to do is we're going to support you by providing you with information about the different types of scholarships, and at the same time, how do you prepare for an essay? So we're going to provide some of that information as well. So let's get started right away. It's important to understand that depending on people's education, and this information comes from the US Census Bureau, so it's information that is inclusive of the whole United States. And so individuals on average with a high school diploma make about $20,000. And with a high school diploma, $27,000. With a bachelor's degree, $48,000, a master's degree, $58,000. And again, it's an average, and a doctorate, $80,000. We know that for individuals in Northern California, the income may be higher, but compared to other states, it is a different situation. So we just want to share this with you in order to promote higher education. And whether you get a certificate, an associate, a bachelor's, a master's, or a PhD is your decision. Your success is what you determine it to be. It is also important to understand how to save, and you can go and check out on my YouTube channel, Líderes del Futuro. You can go check out information about finances. We have that information in English. We have that information in Spanish, because many individuals who go to college really don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to have or create a budget. When you're in college, it is important to save as much money as possible in food. Many community colleges and universities now have a pantry where you can go and get some free food on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. And as a result of that, you can save yourself some money. When you go out into colleges and universities, one of the things that happens, especially if you move far away, is that you're going to try and create healthy relationships with other individuals. And part of that may mean that they want to go out all the time, get a coffee, get some food, so on and so forth. But that can get expensive. So part of having a budget means that you set limits. I only have $50 to be able to go out and get food. How many meals can I get out of that? And at some point, suggesting to your colleagues and new friends, listen, why don't we go walk at the park? Why don't we go hiking? Something that will not require money. And if those individuals understand your situation, they will, again, be good friends, good colleagues, and will not judge you because you don't have the same amount that perhaps they have. While in college, it's also important to understand, especially for first generation college students, that a lot of individuals in the summer, they come back during the summer and they go to work. And often they don't work in areas related to their major. So I invite you to consider sometime in September, October, November, especially of your second year, go and check out the opportunities for internships. If you are a psychology major, again, at Santa Rosa Junior College, I am in charge of the Latinx mentoring program for psychology majors called the Dr. Maria Hess Mentoring Program for Latinx students, again, in the area of psychology. But you can also go to your professors. Same thing with sociology and history, humanities, so on and so forth, and see if there are internships available either on campus or at whatever college or university. I, for example, have assisted in the past students who have gone to do internships at Stanford universities and other places. So again, check with your professors. It's important that you get that knowledge, because sometimes you get your bachelor's degree only to find out that they want you to have 5 years of experience. Well, if you have internship information in your resume or CV, then it's easier for them to give you the job. They know that you have done some work. It is also, while in college, important that you apply for scholarships and maintain a part-time job. It teaches you responsibility. It teaches you how to dress professionally. It teaches you how to show up on time. Those are basic skills that you will need in any career. It is important also to avoid scams, depending who's getting this information. If you're a high school senior, soon you're going to start getting emails and other mailing pieces of information at home that will promote for you to spend money to get a list of this scholarship and that scholarship, so on and so forth. All of the information that we're going to provide you today is free, as most of this information should be. So you want to avoid scams, especially when they say you cannot find this information anywhere else, or all we need is your credit card number. Again, get rid of that email, get rid of that mailing, and again, use our information. When we talk about money, we need to talk about FAFSA. FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. You can go to fafsa.gov, and from there is going to give you access to this. For those of you who are graduating high school or are going to renew for school year 2024-2025, we want to let you know that there are minor changes and some are not so minor changes with FAFSA. The most important one is, for the last few years, you have been able to apply starting October 1st for FAFSA for a year in the future. But because there are some changes coming up with FAFSA, we just wanted to let you know that the application won't open up until December 2023, because they're still putting all of the pieces together for the new FAFSA program. In future years, we hope that it will come back to October, but for now, they're doing December. And again, there are other changes and more information will come out in October and November 2023. For undocumented immigrants, so FAFSA is for US citizens, residents, people who have the T1 visa, which means they are the victims of human trafficking, and people who have been approved for asylum. But in California, we have the CalDREAM Act, which is for undocumented students who have completed a 3-year high school and their high school diploma, or 3 years of high school in California and the GED. And it will not give students as much money as the FAFSA does, but CalDREAM Act is still a way for you to apply for funding. Now, if you graduate high school in California and you apply for FAFSA or the CalDREAM Act, if you're undocumented, the state of California will pay for your classes for the first 2 years of college at community colleges, and that is AB 19 is what the law says. And CalDREAM Act, just like FAFSA, could qualify some individuals to give them cash money to pay for their books and other needs. It is important to know also that in Northern California, we have an organization called 10,000 Degrees. 10,000 Degrees has assisted thousands of individuals to go to college, get certificates, get associates, get bachelors, so on and so forth. So this application typically comes out in October 1st in the same situation as CalDREAM Act. And so check that out. In fact, you can go now and sign up if you're a high school senior or you're already in a community college or university in the Marin County area, in the Sonoma County area, right? Check out what counties qualify. Go to 10,000degrees.org and you can put your email address to get the email updates for when they are going to open up their application for next year. Many scholarships are available for students who qualify. And again, their goal is to get as many students to get their college diplomas as possible. Santa Rosa Junior College is an organization that also has its own scholarships between $1.5 to $2 million. One of those is the Doyle Scholarship. If a student has a GPA cumulative 9 through 12th grade of 2.75 and they apply for FAFSA or CalDreamAg and they attend Santa Rosa Junior College, they will get $1,200. And again, you can go to the website now to see more information about that. The Doyle is just one of them. And then they have the continuing student scholarships, which is thousands and thousands of dollars for students who continue into the next year. And then they have the transfer student scholarships, which is for students who, again, are going to transfer from Santa Rosa Junior College onto a university. So there are a lot of funds available for students. One of my former students, 1 year, got money from FAFSA, got money from the state, and got about $11,000 from the scholarship program at Santa Rosa Junior College. He obtained close to $20,000 that year. If you're a high school senior who plans to attend Santa Rosa Junior College, again, check this out in spring 2024, starting in January to see if there are any scholarships that you might qualify for. And then there is the Hispanic Scholarship Fund. The Hispanic Scholarship Fund is an organization out of San Francisco that typically provides $3 million in scholarships, and these scholarships are for Latinx, Hispanic identified individuals who are U.S. citizens, residents, and those who have DACA. Again, you can go to their website now and you can enter your email address to get those updates. That way you will know when the application will come out, but typically is the 5th of January. So check it out. And one of the most powerful scholarships that people don't know anything about is Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Scholarship. The Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Scholarship has 3 different programs. If you know of any 7th grader in the United States, whether they have legal status or not, they can apply during the spring semester, typically January, February, March, of their 7th grade, if they have really good grades, community service, so on and so forth, and they can apply, and the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Scholarship will support them while they're in middle school and high school. Then the second program is a program where students who are seniors in high school can apply for funding that will provide 4 to 5 years of funding, $55,000 a year. This one is open for U.S. citizens and undocumented immigrants, as well as residents, refugees, and other individuals. And finally, for those students who go to a community college, a year prior to transferring to the university, you can apply, and they could potentially give you funding $55,000 a year for 2 years while you are at the university. Again, check this one out as well. They typically take applications for seniors and students who will transfer sometime around August or September. Go check it out. If you know of somebody who's 7th grader, this fall, again, educate the parents, share the information. We all succeed when everybody is educated. Then we have the Chicana Latina organization. The Chicana Latina Foundation has existed for several years now, many years now, and they typically provide between 30 and 45 scholarships of $1,500 each. This scholarship usually opens up in the spring semester and is only limited to about 9 counties in Northern California. So go check out the website as well to find out more. And it's important that we understand about these programs. Now, $1,500, it's a wonderful thing. It's only open up for female identified individuals, but it's not about the $1,500. That's almost extra. They do a gala where those individuals who get the scholarship, they go and celebrate. And in the room is usually the mayor of San Francisco, sometimes the governor of California, judges, and all of these influential, powerful people. Why is that more important? Because if you do your job correctly and you receive the scholarship, you will be in contact with all those individuals who likely will offer you an internship or will offer you employment when you graduate from college. That is 20 times more important than the $1,500. But why not take both? And this one is also open for US citizens, residents, undocumented women. PEO California, it's another major scholarship program. Go check it out now because there's specific deadlines. There are so many diverse scholarships. Typically, half of the scholarships are for people who are pursuing a degree in health, and the other ones are for a diverse type of scholarships or majors, I should say. And so please check it out. And this is also for female identified individuals. Soroptimist International is another one that offers scholarships, usually scholarships of about $350 to $500. This one is also open to females who are US citizens, residents, and undocumented immigrants. This, you have to go to the website because it exists in some cities and not in other cities. In Sonoma County, years ago, this existed in Hillsburg, but not in Windsor. Yes, in Santa Rosa, but not in Runner Park. Yes, in Petaluma. But again, this changes. So make sure to go to the website, check out the deadlines, when to apply, and at the same time, because typically applications are open in the fall, and at the same time, check out if it exists in your town. Immigrants Rising is an organization formerly known as Educators for Fair Consideration, or E4FC. Immigrants Rising focuses on scholarships for undocumented individuals, whether you're a refugee or an undocumented immigrant. There typically is one scholarship that is worth $7,000. And again, there are other scholarships available. Plus, they have a long list of scholarships for individuals who are undocumented and who are wanting to pursue masters and PhDs as well. The Point Foundation Scholarship is one for Black and Indigenous and other people of color. So this comes out typically in the fall. So go to pointfoundation.org and check out the opportunities as well. So the deadlines change from time to time. So again, go to that one and check it out. In Sonoma County, Latinos Unidos del Condado de Sonoma is a wonderful nonprofit organization that has existed for many, many decades. And at this moment, they typically give 100 to 105 scholarships of $1,000 for Latinos, Latinas in the county. Latinx individuals can apply. A majority of the scholarships go to high school students, but they also provide scholarships to students who are at Santa Rosa Junior College and Sonoma State University. US citizens, residents, and undocumented individuals qualified to apply. Good grades and community service is important for most of these scholarships. And the greatest collection of scholarships out there is fastweb.com. Now, one of the things that you should know is for scholarships, you should create a unique email, a different email than what you use for college, a different email than what you use for your video games and shopping online and so on and so forth. Because with companies like fastweb.com, it's going to take you about 40 minutes just to create the form or the account with them. And then you will get a list of about 50 scholarships that you may qualify for. Fastweb.com has over 1.5 million scholarships worth over $3 billion. If you are 6'1" or taller, there's a scholarship for you. If you are 5'4" or shorter, there's a scholarship for you. If you have blue eyes, there's a scholarship for you. If you have green eyes, there's a scholarship for you. If you have natural red eyes, there's a scholarship for you. If you're Catholic or Christian or even a non-believer, you have a scholarship waiting for you. There's just so many scholarships, but you're going to be getting emails all the time. Again, this is why you need to create a different email address just for scholarships and go and check them out on a regular basis. Again, some scholarships are for 11th graders in here. There's scholarships for different grades. So please check that out. There's scholarships for U.S. citizens, residents, and undocumented and refugee immigrants to this country. For high school seniors, perhaps especially high school seniors who are U.S. citizens, one of the most important scholarships is the Gates Foundation Scholarship, also known as the Gates Scholarship. Go to gatesscholarship.org, and there it opens up July 15th every year and closes September 15th every year. And they can give a scholarship of up to $60,000 a year for 4 to 5 years. Excellent grades, lots of community service, and more. And I'll explain about community service in a few minutes. Again, go to that website, thegatesscholarship.org. Líderesdelfuturo.org, that is Líderes del Futuro Avanzando, and we provide different scholarships. In the year 2023, 2024, we now provided $10,000 in scholarships. All of our scholarships are typically $500 each. We have the Dr. Maria Hess Scholarship for high school graduating seniors and community college students for Santa Rosa Junior College and Sonoma State with a focus in psychology. We have the Leo Jimenez Carreño Scholarship, which is another $500 scholarship, and we typically give 2 of those each year. And again, we have the Mike Garcia Scholarship, and that is for undocumented immigrants, specifically of Latinx background. And then we have the Robert Lotero Scholarship for Latinx students who are graduating high school and will be attorneys or will be teachers. Again, there's a lot of scholarships out there, but you also have to go look for those. And also other forms of support, EOPS, Extended Opportunities Programs and Services, whether you are in Sonoma County and plan to attend Santa Rosa Junior College or Mendocino College, Napa Valley College, wherever you are in California, there's about 115 community colleges, and each one has an EOPS program. Each program is a little bit different, but most programs support you with counseling services and book money. So check it out. They often start taking applications in the spring for the fall semester, and then they start again in the fall for the spring semester. So again, go check out their website at Santa Rosa Junior College. It is EOPS, that's santarosa.edu. But again, depending which community college you plan to attend or are already attending, again, go check out their website, stop by their office at Santa Rosa Junior College. Many years ago, when I was their outreach coordinator, I started a program where I would go to a local store that I will not promote, and I started buying coffee and I started buying snacks out of my own pocket because this program is for the lowest incomes possible, poor people really. And so now it's beautiful that they continue that program even though I'm no longer there. At universities, whether it is the CSU or UC, we have EOP, the Educational Opportunity Program. Both EOPS and EOP were created around the same time. And this was as a result of the movement of college students that said, we demand more from our government. And so these programs continue to exist. So if you're planning to go directly to the university from high school, when you're filling out your college application, you also are applying for EOP. Make sure you apply for EOP at your university. And each university provides different services. So part of deciding whether or not to go directly to a university means three things. And I need you to pay attention. One is, are you mature enough to be able to take care of yourself, get up on time, wash your laundry, cook if necessary, clean your dorm or whatever you are? And that's one item. Two, are you able to compete with other students at that level? And three, do you have the funding to afford going to the university directly? If not, that is why community colleges were created. Again, if the community college is going to provide you 2 free years of classes, and the university might say, you're going to have to take out all these loans, why would you want to waste your money? Unless you get a scholarship like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Scholarship or the Jack and Cook Foundation Scholarship. But otherwise, the last thing you want to do is go in depth, right? So please pay attention to this information. And when we talk about scholarships, it's important to apply only for scholarships that you are eligible for. So if it is for African Americans and you're not an African American individual, you really should leave those scholarships alone, right? Two, submit the application in full. Don't assume that they won't notice that you missed your transcripts or that you left out some important information. Three, neatness counts. This, when you fill out a paper application, means that you don't want any coffee stains or anything like that. But it also means that you check out the spelling and everything else in your application if it's done online. Watch for deadlines. So what you should do immediately is go to your local, like Redwood Credit Union, Community First Credit Union, or if you have to go to one of the local stores and buy one of those calendars that you can edit, or one of the big paper calendars that you can plan ahead of time. Or if you are comfortable with your computer, then put all of these deadlines in your calendar. What you want to do is you want to find out what the deadline is of all of the scholarships you're going to apply to, and then make sure you submit the application 2 weeks before it's due. Sometimes you made a mistake or you left something out, and they will contact you and say, hey, we just wanted to let you know your transcripts are not included. So you can resubmit it. You don't want to be waiting until 11:59 p.m. and then try to submit the application. Two, in this situation, it's important, again, that when you're looking at these deadlines, that you ask for letters of recommendation a month ahead of your own internal deadline, which means you don't show up to your faculty member, your professor, and say, hey, I have a deadline for tomorrow or 2 days from now. Can you write me a letter of recommendation? That's not appropriate. It's completely disrespectful, because you're assuming that faculty, your professors, have nothing better to do, right? And so some faculty, do not be angry, do not be disappointed if they say, you know what, I cannot do it, I'm sorry. Or they end up writing you a letter of recommendation that really is not talking much about what a wonderful student you are. So give them time. A month is typically what you want to give them, and also provide them information. What's the scholarship about? Write some notes. What's the scholarship about? To whom should they direct the letter to? Is it going to be sealed? Is it going to be open? Can they provide it to you digitally? Should they print it and give it to you? All of those details are important. Also, provide them information about what your major is and where are you going to attend? What is your final career goal? Maybe a resume would be helpful, right? So provide all those pieces of information, or you may end up with a letter that is going to be useless, okay? Ask for assistance, not just from family and friends, but from a professor or the college that may have a writing center or a tutorial center. Those services typically are free. Write an essay that makes a strong impression, because you have to assume that maybe 50 people are applying or 150 people are applying. How will you be remembered if your essay was the first one they read? How will they remember you after they read 150 scholarship essays? And that's what we're going to talk about. Write an essay that is going to make an impact. And then think local, then global, which means start applying to scholarships that are local, and then county-wide, and then region-wide, and then statewide, and so on and so forth, with the exception, if you qualify, of the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Scholarship and the Gates Scholarship. Those you should apply if you can. And then it's important when you're writing an essay to think before you write. So brainstorm, put some ideas together, be original. Don't go to ChatGPT and have ChatGPT write your essay. Many people are going to grab your essay. They're going to put it in ChatZero or some other software. And if they find out that you didn't write your own essay, not only will they deny you the funding, but they may end up exposing you for, again, plagiarism. And so that's important. Also, don't go online and use Google or other software to give you samples of essays. Think about your own story. So we're going to spend some time working on that in a minute. Tell as good of a story as possible. Again, you want to make sure they remember who you are. Develop a theme. What is it that you want them to know about you, your goals, your experiences, and why? Know your audience. So here's something that is important. There is nothing wrong with you calling the Jack Kent Cooke Foundation Scholarship and politely saying, I'm going to apply for your scholarship. Could you give me an idea of who the audience, who are the people who are going to be reading these essays? They will tell you. They'll be honest. Years ago at Santa Rosa Junior College, I called right ahead of a workshop I was going to do, and I asked the scholarship department, who is the average reader of this scholarship essays? And they say, women who are white and are 65 years or older. And so you don't want to use language that is common for 18-year-olds and 25-year-olds. You want to use language that is going to be easily understood by the population that is going to read your essay. And at the end, review your essay and, of course, ask for feedback. Now, don't ask mom, don't ask your brother or your sister, don't ask your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Ask somebody outside the home, because some of these people may feel awkward about telling you that your essay makes no sense, right? Go to people that you trust and will be honest. Again, sometimes there's writing centers, sometimes there's tutorial centers, sometimes it's your professors who might be willing and able to do this. They're busy people. But again, ask around. And that brings us to the essay outline. The essay outline typically, and you can use this information as well if you're applying to the UC system in California or a private school, right? people have invited me to do this type of workshops in high schools because they have found that this information is essential to apply to UCs because they will require an essay, and private schools like Stanford and other places. So I've been privileged to do this in local high schools in Sonoma County. And I know that the video, this is the latest version, but other previous versions have also been used in some high schools. And so it's all about the introduction. Then you're going to talk a little bit about yourself, your background, obstacles that you have faced, but don't waste too much time on that. Focus on achievements. How did you overcome something? And I'll share some information. Skills, unique qualities that you have, your educational goals, step by step, community service. And what do you do when you haven't done community service? And when is the only time that it's okay to not have done community service? What's your motivation for pursuing an education? The purpose of the funding request, and then the magic words to close your essay. Here we go. Let's start with the intro. The intro must catch the attention of the reader, and it should be no more than 2 sentences long. And please don't start with, hello, my name is. I still see those essays, and I bring it up because it seems like students are not being guided properly on how to do this. Look at these examples. I have of late been thinking about numbers quite a lot. The number 1 in particular. That's it. Catchy. Now, I, as the reader, want to know more about number 1. This student was a high school student that was eventually accepted to Harvard. 2, visiting hours are from 3 to 4 and 6 to 8. The room was dimly lit, and whatever light did shine, it only did so sparingly. So in that situation, I typically ask when I'm doing this in person or Zoom, where do you think they're talking about? What was the location? Most people say a hospital. No, this student was a high school student telling a story applying to NYU and was accepted to NYU, was telling the story about how at the age of about 6, he would go see his dad who was in prison. Those were the visiting hours. And 3, uproot a tree and replant it. Chances are very high that the tree will have difficulty surviving. Again, this high school student was accepted to Brown. What are they talking about? Well, I want to know more, right? This student was talking about the fact that she was brought by her parents from her home country in Japan to the United States, and she left behind grandma and culture and food and many other things, and she had difficulty adjusting to the United States. But over time, she did so. But that is a catchy sentence. So again, keep that in mind. Be creative. What makes you unique? What makes your experience unique? In regards to background, who are you? And why are you comfortable sharing? Are you an immigrant? Are you a refugee? Are you a US born individual? Are you monolingual or are you quadrilingual? Do you come from a single parent household? Do you have 6 siblings? Or are you a single child? Do you want to focus on your ethnicity? Maybe you're indigenous from whatever country you come from. Maybe you want to talk about the fact that you're the first one in your family to go to college. Maybe you want to tell us about your experience of traveling outside the United States and what was that like? Maybe you want to share that you come from a poor neighborhood, or maybe your parents are wealthy, but they have denied you funding to go to college. Or maybe you're a member of the shrinking middle class in the United States. Right? So what do you feel like sharing that is going to continue to catch the attention of individuals? Then you should focus a little bit on an obstacle. But again, Don't focus too much energy. A sentence, maybe two, and then talk to us about how you overcame that. As a refugee to this country, when I came at the age of 15, I, for example, had difficulty learning English. And Mr. Duran was our English as a second language teacher. He took 6 of us out of the class and he said, through a translator, he says, none of you are going to graduate high school because you are not learning English fast enough. So instead of taking this class, we're going to send you to woodshop classes so that you can get a job when you become dropouts, right? That's an important story. And a year later, I focused so hard that a year later, I was in another ESL class, English as a second language, but I also was getting an A in Miss Dewey's English class, AP English, right? So that's how it works. Focus on the achievement as much as possible. Or that subsequently I graduated one semester early from high school with a 3.98 GPA. Again, think about the obstacle, but focus on the achievement. And when you talk about your skills, what makes you unique? Again, maybe you are bilingual or trilingual or quadrilingual. Maybe you speak one of the indigenous languages of Africa, right? And you are one of a few hundred left that speaks that language and that you're going to work to preserve it. Maybe you are really good at computer programming, or you have amazing painting and drawing skills. Whatever it is, what separates you from the other 150 applicants? That is what matters. And then speak to the reader about your educational goals. Don't just say, I would like, stop using those words. I would like to transfer to this university. I need to transfer to, no, I will transfer from Santa Rosa Junior College to UC Berkeley, where I will graduate with a degree in political science, and then I will pursue my doctorate, my JD, my Juris Doctorate to become an immigration attorney or a criminal defense attorney or whatever the situation is. Don't tell them what you would like to do. Tell them what you will accomplish. And it's okay to say, in 3 years, I will transfer. In 2 years after that, I will graduate, so on and so forth. And you should always create your 10-year plan so that you don't forget this type of stuff. Don't be afraid to dream and dream big, but provide a timeline if you have the space. And then talk about community service. Now, the easiest place to do community service, for those of you in Sonoma County, I don't know where people are going to be getting this information, but in Sonoma County and wherever you live, probably, the food bank is one of the greatest places. You're supporting your own community, you're doing community service that is going to come back to help you. In the food bank of Sonoma County, they always need volunteers, and I love promoting the Redwood Food Bank. It's one of the greatest institutions that exists. And again, typically at the food bank, at the age of 12, you can start doing community service. When do I start doing community service? It should be a natural thing. The great Alice Walker said, community service or volunteer work is the price or the rent I pay for the privilege of living on this great planet. Okay. So in Sonoma County, the Redwood Food Bank, at the age of 12, you can go and start doing community service a couple of hours a month, a couple of hours a week, and you don't need a parent. If you're younger than that, you need an adult with you. But again, no religious organizations are preferred. And this is why you may be Catholic, but the people reading your essay may not be Catholic. So that may backfire. But the other thing also with religious organizations is sometimes you may be the person who goes and takes care of children during the service or hours of worship, let's say. But that only helps that church or that center. That doesn't help the community in general. Now, if your religious group is going out there and feeding the homeless without asking whether or not they want to be members of your religious group, then that's community service. But if you're asking them, hey, we'll give you food and come to our place of worship, that is not community service. It's super important that you understand that. Also, if your high school requires you to do community service as part of graduation requirements, that is not community service because you are not doing it out of your own conscience, out of the goodness of your heart. You're doing it because you're being required to do so. Okay. And it's important. The beauty of the food bank in this situation, and in Sonoma County, there's over 540 nonprofit organizations. Find one that will connect to your major, but also do community service with the food bank. And they're easy to do work with also because you say, hey, can you give me a letter of recommendation? They'll go to their computer, they'll print a letter of recommendation, and it knows exactly how many hours you've done. But also, again, there's so many organizations, whether you are in Napa, whether you are in San Francisco, wherever you are, go and check out community service and how you can do this. And then what is your motivation for pursuing higher education? Money cannot be the reason, right? That may be your personal reason, but in essays, you cannot write that. Write about how you're going to become a lawyer because you want to support migrant communities. Write about why you would become a teacher because a teacher once supported you and you want to give back for the next generation. Write about how you're going to be a doctor because, again, you want to support the community because you enjoy giving back, so on and so forth. And please, there's a lot of especially immigrant and refugee parents who say, you need to become a nurse because I heard that's where the money was. I had a student once who said, I want to become a nurse. And I said, why? And she said, because my mother said that she wanted to become a nurse and then she got pregnant with me. And she always reminded me that if I had not been there, she would have finished her degree as a nurse. And I said to her, that is your mother's dream, not yours. Okay, so that's important. And then the purpose of the request. Why do you need the money? I had a meeting with a student right this day, and they asked me, well, can I apply to many scholarships and still tell them that is for books and supplies and lab equipment and all of the stuff? The answer is yes. Why? Because you don't know which scholarship is going to come through for you. And if 25 scholarships come through and now you have a pile of money, don't waste that money. Put it in a money market account or a CD, certificate of deposit. Again, go check out my video on my YouTube channel about finances. You'll learn more about what I'm talking about. But put it there so that when it's time for you to transfer to a university, you will have plenty of money and you don't have to work. You can do a bunch of internships and secure yourself a future career. So again, that's important. Now, how many scholarships should you be applying for? 6 in your last year of high school, starting in July. And then when you go to college or the university, 2 every month. Okay, 6 every month in your last year of high school, 2 every month when you're in college or university. You cannot say that the money is for transportation, food, or clothing. For transportation, the only exception is if you're going to do study abroad. Study abroad is when your community college or university goes to France for a semester or sometimes even a year, to Italy, to Spain, to London, England, to Ireland, to Chile, to China, or some other country. There's a scholarship that can give you up to $5,000 for transportation. But besides that, Again, stay with college fees, classes, lab equipment, so on and so forth. Something that relates to your major preferably. Okay. And before we go to the closing, I'm going to tell you a simple essay from memory, just because this was very powerful. And it goes like this. A student of mine years ago wrote it, and it's not going to be perfect, but I want to give you a sample. And again, I'm doing it out of memory because it still stays with me. And it said something like this. When I first woke up and before I opened my eyes, the smell of the room told me where I was. I was born in El Salvador, and there we were very, very poor. Once a week, I would accompany my grandma because she needed to visit the doctor. She suffered from diabetes and other illnesses, and therefore she needed to be checked up on a regular basis. I always walked in there and I was impressed by the level of support that the nurses would provide my grandma. They created a very welcoming space. I used to play sports in El Salvador, but eventually I had to migrate to the United States because of the level of poverty and violence that happened there. When I came to the United States, I had difficulty creating friendships because I didn't speak the language. Over time, I was able to focus on my education and I got support from some teachers. And within 2 years, I mastered the English language. I started taking AP classes and I was very successful. I decided that I didn't want to limit myself to 2 languages, English and Spanish, and therefore I learned a third and eventually a fourth language while I was in high school. I have now decided that I am going to attend a university, and my goal is to attend UC Berkeley and focus on health. The reason why I want to pursue a degree in health, specifically, I am going to become a doctor, is because I used to play sports in the United States. And one day while playing soccer, I came together with another player and I fell. And when I fell, I passed out. When I woke up, and before I opened my eyes, the smell of the room told me that I was in the hospital. Because the same smell of this hospital was the same smell as the hospital where my grandma used to get treated. The nurses did a wonderful job, and so did the doctor. And therefore, I know now that I am going to be a doctor. I do community service locally, but in fact, I wish I could do more community service, but after school, I have to pick up my little brother and my little sister, and I have to take them home, and I have to supervise them, help them with their homework, make sure they eat dinner, get a shower, and they get into bed before I can get started with my own homework. I come from a single parent household, and my mother works very late. I am in need of additional funding to pay for my classes, my books, and the lab equipment that I'm going to use at UC Berkeley. When I become a doctor, I want to give back to the community in the same way that others have supported me. I thank you for your consideration of my request. And here is where I talk about the closing, the power of thank you. This comes from psychology. It's one of the areas of study that I have in my background. And so one of the things that we know, and the example I always give here is the mom that is tired of arguing with her teenage boy who doesn't want to take out the garbage on Monday night. And so every Monday, it goes back and forth. And often mom ends up taking out the garbage rather than arguing. And so the way it works is the boy is playing video games in the living room. Mom finished for the night and she's heading to her room. And instead of arguing, she says, son, as she's heading out of the living room into the hallway, she just says, son, thank you for taking out the garbage. Good night. And she's gone. And by the time the kid turns around to start arguing, it's too late. He's going to be upset because he didn't get to argue. But technically, he owes her that favor because she already said thank you. In the same manner, you're going to say, thank you for your consideration of my request, or perhaps thank you for taking the time to read my essay, or thank you for taking the time to review my application, or thank you for taking the time to learn about my goals or my life, right? And as a result of that, it increases the chances that you're going to obtain that scholarship. And with that, I want to thank you for spending time with me. My name is Rafael Vasquez Guzman. I'm the Executive Director of Líderes del Futuro Avanzando, a nonprofit organization in Sonoma County. Our website, lideresdelfuturo.org. Every day, I put a positive message on my TikTok and Instagram in English and in Spanish, líderes_del_futuro, líderes del futuro, with double O at the end. I am also a humanities faculty at Santa Rosa Junior College, and I am the advisor of the MECHA organization that, among other things, advocates for equity in education, advocates for equity pay for student workers at Santa Rosa Junior College, and puts on a conference for high school students and their families every year. The 2024 high school conference, the MECHA High School Conference, will take place on February 24th, 2024. Stay in touch, reach out, or go to mechadesrjc.org for more details starting in October. Thank you for your time.